What up, what up? This is Mallz back at you once again. Another week, another episode of Break It On Down. This is the show where I give a lyric breakdown and some of the backstory behind the songs from my new album called Famous Last Words, which was produced entirely by D.R.U.G.S Beats. Famous Last Words is out now. I have a link where you can get your copy in the description below the video. This week, we're going to be talking about the track called In My Own World. So, check it out.
The world, and we ain't got much dough, and you can like them other guys, but really, what the fuck for? Do better, still rep the Ville like.
All right, so In My Own World, there's not too much backstory to it. This song is one of my patented Mallz talk shit because I'm a great rapper songs. It was written kind of close. It was one of the last songs I wrote for the album. It was written in the summer of last year, summer of 2020. And just that beat just stuck out to me. It was one of the later beats that D.R.U.G.S had sent me. And, you know, first hearing that Dell's, you know, sample, the Stay in My Corner, is like, okay, this has to be dope. And then when the beat dropped, I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta have this, right? And so the way it came in, I just wanted something that would just hit real hard, you know. Usually when I start my songs off, my verses or even just my songs, you know, if you've been following my career and kind of noticed these kind of things, you know that I'll sometimes not come in right on the one. I'll come in on the two or the three, maybe even the four sometimes, and start my verse. This one I wanted to come in like boom as soon as the beat dropped, which surprisingly I did that in one take. So, you know, it starts out cutthroat, ballers all fall down like nutso, and I got that cutthroat part exactly right in the first take. But when I went back and did my ad-libs, I wanted to double that first word, and it took me like 4 or 5 takes to get the timing right on the ad-libs. So, you know, everybody likes to say, oh yeah, I did this in one take, man. Sometimes that shit takes 4 or 5 takes. And so the song, it ended up being kind of an extension or maybe even a part 2 to my song called Army of One from my previous project that I did with Steve Skyline called Radioheads. I didn't intend for it to be that way, but it just kind of ended up that way once I finished the song. So again, the first verse starts out, cutthroat, ballers all fall down like nutso, big budget project, albums still suck though. We shitting on the world and though we ain't got much dough, and you can like them other guys, but really, what the fuck for? And one of my favorite basketball movies is Above the Rim. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Above the Rim, in the beginning, you know, one of the lead characters, Tommy Shepard, is playing basketball with his friend called Nutso. And after they finish the game, for some reason, these guys are playing basketball on like a 5th-story warehouse building or something like that. So after they finish the game, they want to see how high they could jump. And so they smack the backboard, jump and smack the backboard. And so I think Tommy goes up first, boom, smacks the backboard. And then Nutso goes up, boom, smacks the backboard, but he keeps going. He breaks the backboard. He keeps going and falls out of the window to his death. And then Tommy Shepard screams over the window, Nutso! So I reference that a lot. You know, if you know me, I reference Nutso a lot just in general conversation. So I had to put that in the rhyme. So ballers all fall down like nutso. So again, I'm kind of in my confidence in my shit talking bag. So it's not a whole lot of science behind this, but you know, I'll still try to break down the lyrics where, you know, I see fit. So after that section, the next few bars are do better, still rep the Ville like I'm Cruella, fitting jewels inside of bars like a jewel setter. Whoever's in earshot of my joint, that fear not, one of one, them other rappers copy like a Xerox. And still rep the Ville like I'm Cruella, the Ville being Harrowsville, you know, the town where I'm from, and Cruella de Ville, so rep the Ville like Cruella. I don't think that was too difficult to understand, but you know, some people like the flow and not necessarily the words. So they're the meaning of the words for those of you. All right, so the next part is cumbersome, always trying to prove that you're number one, and I ain't keeping score, but you'll always be a runner-up. And I've reached a point in my career where I just stopped comparing myself to other people. And whether that's other people that are in my, surrounding areas, other people who are kind of in my lane as far as sound goes, or even just other people in general. I'm not comparing successes, and I'm not looking at so-and-so who may have gotten on this festival stage and like, oh man, they got on the festival, why can't I get on the festival? Like, I stopped doing that. So, I'm not competing with anyone. But a lot of people do still consider rap as a competitive thing, and they take it as far as like, you can't, or you get this thing, so I need to get this thing too, instead of just competing like, oh, you wrote a dope song, let me write a dope song too, show you how dope I could be. For those of you who are still competing like, oh, Mallz got this, I need to get this too, again, just confidence and shit talking, you're always going to be a runner-up, because I feel like my only competition is the last thing that I did, so I'm working on a new album right now. I'm competing with Famous Last Words, because to me, that's the best thing that I've worked on. So I want to outdo myself. That's the line, cumbersome. Rappers try to prove that they're number one, and I ain't keep a score, but you'll always be a runner-up. Keep a level head while the whole world's a clusterfuck. Enough's enough. No more being led astray and run amok. So again, this was written in June of 2020, in the middle of, I guess not the middle of it, but once we realized like, oh shit, this COVID shit is here to stay. And I had actually had COVID when I was writing this. So just the whole world's a clusterfuck. Everything is fucking ridiculous, right? So while I won't say suffering, but I had COVID. Fortunately, I had mild symptoms, so I didn't suffer like others have. But while everything is going on, people always say that I'm always calm and I'm always level-headed with stuff. And truth be told, like, yeah, outside I seem calm and I seem like I'm always like even keel, not too high, not too low. But inside, I'm freaking out. I just know that freaking out outwardly won't help me. So I just appear calm and it's like, okay, we can get through this. Whatever it is, it doesn't not even necessarily me having COVID, but just any kind of situation I'm in, even if it's good news, like a lot of people are like, aren't you excited? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. And it's like, I don't know. I just don't get too high or get too low when it comes to events that are outside my control. So then I end that verse with, sucker think he good, but I know he can't whoop me. I raised the bar on every joint and showed you how it should be. A black shining beacon who mastered his rhyme and reason and put the game in a better place when I leave it. So that sucker think he good, but I know he can't whoop me. That is paying homage or reference to The Education of Sonny Carson, which has been sampled and referenced in a whole lot of songs, but probably most famously the album title for Lauryn Hill's album, and also on a lot of the tracks on Ghostface's first solo album, Iron Man. A lot of Education of Sonny Carson lines were used in that album. So that was just me referencing back to that. And I don't even think there was any particular reason I decided to put a line from Sonny Carson in there. It just came to my head. And with the last line, and put the game in a better place when I leave it, I think I was still kind of thinking that this was going to be my last album when I started writing this. Again, I wrote this in June. But it may have been a combination of just me still thinking this is going to be my last album, because it's like, okay, after this one, I'm going to hang it up. This is going to be my magnum opus, blah, blah, blah. And also just that morbid, like, realizing my own mortality thing. So even outside of that, I feel like anyone who does anything, they want to, when they leave it, they want to hopefully leave it in a better place than it was than when they found it or discovered it or started participating in it. And so that's just me kind of addressing that. So I've kind of noticed that a common theme in this Break It On Down series that I've been doing is me saying that I'm not good at writing hooks, or I don't feel like I'm good at writing hooks, and I don't like the hooks that I write. But then turning right back around and saying, oh, but this hook came to me quickly. The hook for this song did not come to me quickly. I wrote like 3 or 4 different ones, and I didn't like any of them. And I recorded this song, a while after I finished writing it, and I didn't just settle on the hook that it ended up being until I recorded it. And I was like, okay, I'll just try this because I don't like all the other stuff that I wrote. So let me just try this. And this one kind of fit the most. And I actually do kind of like this hook. So again, it's just me saying like, yo, I'm in my own world, like, if those who are really close to me know how I kind of jokingly say that I'm from a different planet, because I just feel like I don't relate to a lot of people, and I've named the planet. So this was kind of me talking about that. I'm in my own world and y'all can't come visit. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'll come visit y'all in y'all world, but then I'm going back to my little sanctuary, and this right here is my little sanctuary. So, as I've said in previous episodes, and if you listen to my music, that I what I like to call, I sneak the medicine in. Spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, right? So in this verse, I kind of give you a little bit of that medicine to go with the flashy, like talking shit, oohs and ahs type stuff that I gave you in the first verse. And I don't get too heavy into it, but I do just kind of give you some, like, hey, it ain't just about like I'm a dope MC. So that's why I feel like I should have, since I started the song with a really strong opening, like a bam, I wanted to start the second verse with a really strong opening, and maybe not be so much of that, that quick sucker punch that the first line in the first verse had, but something that was still kind of impactful. So, that's when I come in with the Black survival, been in crosshairs since my arrival. Every bullet missed, including missiles from the silos. So I just felt like that was pretty impactful and pretty profound way to start the second verse after I just been talking shit, that whole first verse. Here I come with some like, oh man, like he's talking Black survival and just, feeling like a target and thriving regardless of how many times they try to tear you down or shoot you down, that whole segment is Black survival, been in crosshairs since my arrival. Every bullet missed, including missiles from the silos. All the shit I've been through made me see I have no rivals. Wisdom's not an issue when I'm sharing all that I know. So, it's just talking about just, as being a Black person and a Black male, like you have, the odds are stacked against you. And basically, despite, all those missiles that have been shot at me, all those bullets that have been shot at me from, just from systemic racism to my own poor choices to just whatever, like, I have survived so much, so everything that I've been through, all the close calls that I've had, all the setbacks and disappointments I've had, like, I'm still here. And again, going back to that no competition thing, like it helped me get my confidence. And it also proved to me like, yo, I'm not in competition with anyone. Like, no one has had the same journey as I've had, and I haven't had the same journey as anyone else. So how could you compete? You know what I mean? Like we all have our separate obstacles that we all go through. We all have the same, these obstacles that we all share in going through, but then there's also the personal obstacles that we also have to overcome on top of that, right? And so because of the combination of just the overarching obstacles and the personal ones, like, how could anybody be my competition? How could I try to compete with anyone? Like, I have no rivals. I am Mallz. My rival is my own mediocrity, of overcoming my own mediocrity. The next section is looking at my iPhone. It's about that time for revolution, building a better future. My people can't be stopped, man. We all gonna shine. Strength in numbers, move mountains when we all combined. I hate to use the term old school, but I do like the classic era of hip hop, and I was raised on really early hip hop thanks to my older brother. So, you know, that line, looking at my iPhone, is about that time, was kind of a homage, a reference to Schoolie D with Gucci Time. You know, looking at my Gucci, it's about that time. And a lot of people have used that in songs, so it's not like oh yeah, y'all don't know about this. You know, it was just kind of, you know, updating that line for the 20th, for the 21st. We're in the 21st century, fucking 2021. So updating that line for the 21st century and the technological era that we're in. So instead of Gucci, which I can't afford anyway, iPhone, which I probably can't afford, but somehow I have an iPhone. So the next 4 bars are: I live legendary, never did it for the awards. Just pay me in advance and at the end give applause. Made a couple detours that knocked me slightly off course, but still I'm on the right path. My mama thanking the Lord. And so again, like, I don't do this for accolades, and I don't do this, you know, for whatever awards are available to me. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, I have been nominated, you know, for a local award in North Carolina called the Carolina Music Awards. I was nominated when I was a part of Alpha Male Society for Best Group. And we, self-included, I didn't even campaign for it. Like, I didn't even like, hey, been nominated for CMAs, make sure you vote. You know, I didn't do any of that. Like, and there are other reasons why I didn't do it, but one of the reasons is like, awards are cool, I guess, but they don't move me. You know, like, that's not my motivation. You know, in the words of Phife Dawg, rest in peace, you know, I never let a statue tell me how nice I am. I'm just, to me, I consider myself a blue collar rapper. So pay me in advance. I'm trying to, like, this is a career for me. So make sure I'm paid, and then, you know, I will accept your applause at the end of the show, you know, and during the show. You know, don't wait until I'm over to applause and hoot and holler. You know, do it to me while I'm performing on stage, you know, back when performing on stage was a thing. You know, so that's more of my motivation. Like, you know, I want to give something of value to everyone. And I want people to feel like, okay, this music that I'm getting from Mallz, this is a part of my life. I'm forming memories to these songs, and I remember where I was when I first heard, you know, this album or whatever. You know, that's more of what my motivation is, other than just like some kind of award. So the last 4 bars of the song are: pour the champagne, elders say your boy did the damn thing. Job well done on this drug-produced campaign. Stay focused, each day creating a better me. And on my last breath, I left with the greatest legacy. You know, so again, it's me kind of preparing for this to be my last offering, musical offering, you know, so it's just kind of what I want. I want to leave the legacy, you know, that when it's all said and done, however I go out, you know, this music will last and live way longer than I will. And hopefully I've left something that, one, it proves that, you know, hey, Mallz was here, you know, and Mallz was a bad motherfucker. Like, this dude made some incredible jams. And it's also like, again, I'm my only competition. So every day I'm trying to be better than I was the day before. Each rap, each verse, I want it to be better than the one that I wrote before it. This album that I'm working on now, I want it to be better than, you know, all the previous albums that I've put out, you know, and that's what keeps me motivated, what keeps me focused. So again, man, yeah, this was not a whole lot of science behind it, but a little bit. So again, Famous Last Words is available. Available? Yes, it's available. Famous Last Words is available anywhere you listen to music, on all your streaming platforms. If you're a real one though, you get it from my Bandcamp, which is mallz.bandcamp.com. There is a link down below. I pointed again. I've been doing so well. There's a link down below where you can purchase it. So, you know, get you a copy, get your homies a copy, put your friends on, and we will catch you next week for the last episode of Break It On Down. Peace out.
Put the game in a better place when I leave it. Hey, yo, I'm so prolific, dog, it's just different. I'm in my own world and y'all can't come visit. I'm in my own world and y'all can't come visit.